Okay, tackling the last assess of Unit 2. This is Assess 13, page 162 and 163. I'm looking at the story on question 3, Colin and his dog. So here we go. Colin and his dog, incidentally called Ben, go for a walk over Cartmel Fell. Okay, too much information. It's a distance time graph and it shows the distance from home. At what time did Colin and Ben, bless them, set off? So this is when did they set off? I see there 3 blocks between 10 AM and 11 AM. In other words, each block is worth 20 minutes, so they set off at 10:20 in the morning. Is that alright? Shift this block a bit. Right, part B in 2 parts. Colin had his lunch the first time they stopped. At what time did Colin have his lunch? Well, we seem to have a flat line right there, so just running this down. Colin stopped for lunch at 11:40. Alright? A little early, I think. Still, who am I to say? How long did they stop for lunch? Oh, so obviously Ben had some lunch as well. Well done. So from 11:40 to 12, that's a 20-minute stop for lunch. Now, part C. What was their average speed in kilometres per hour before lunch? So how far did we go before lunch? Well, we're arriving there. That's 3.5 kilometres. How long did that take? Well, from 10:20 to 11:40. So 10:20 to 11:40 is 1 1/3 hours. Is that alright? So 10:20, 11:20 plus an extra 20 minutes is 1/3 of an hour. So 1 1/3 hours. Average speed, distance divided by time. So if I multiply this, say, if I multiply this by 3, I get rid of this third, don't I? So if I multiply this by 3, I'm going to get, let's just take a look, 4 hours. Multiply this by 3, I'm going to get 10.5 kilometres in 4 hours. It just seems like an easier sum to me, really. So multiplying by 3, I get 10.5 kilometres in the equivalent of 4 hours. So speed equals distance over time. Distance, time. Do a quick short division sum there. Right then, 10's into 20, 10's into sorry, 4's into 10 go twice, 2 left over. 4's into 25 is going to go 6 times 1 left over. 4's into 10 twice, 2 left over, etc, etc. 4's into 25. It's going to take 2.625 miles per hour. I think that's a horrible sum. So 2.625, so it's kilometres per hour. I beg its pardon. Right, let's just pause that so I can think. Okay, I'm happy with part C, by the way. Part D says on their way back they stopped several times for Colin to admire the view. At what times did Colin make these stops? Well, we stopped right there where my pen is at the moment, and we stopped right there. So that time is going to be 12:40 is one stop, and the other stop is right there, 1:20. Right, last bit. How far did they walk? Well, I presume they come back as well. So it's the full journey. We're going from 0 to 3.5 kilometres, and then we're coming all the way back. So we're looking at 2 lots of 3.5 kilometres, otherwise known as 7 kilometres of round trip there and back. Now, what was their average speed in kilometres per hour for the whole journey? Right, let's hope this fits here. We did 7 kilometres, and the whole time was from 10:20 to 2:20. Therefore, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. So speed equals distance over time. That's going to be 7/4. Let's just do that. So that's going to be going there once and 3 left over. So 1 3/4 kilometres per hour, 1.75 kilometres per hour as an average speed. Alright, so I think I need to turn over and do another question, and that should be fine. Right, this is the AQA style question, question 2, on page 164. I rather fancied it. It's very practical, very what's the word? Very functional. So motorists should drive with a safe gap between their vehicle and the vehicle in front, naturally. This graph shows the minimum safe gap between vehicles at different speeds. Now different gaps are recommended for wet roads and dry roads, naturally. Right, at the moment we have the road being dry, that's good. The car is travelling at 30 miles per hour behind a lorry. What is the minimum safe gap between the car and the lorry? Let me try and show this on the graph then. Minimum safe gap, here we go, 30 miles per hour, and we are dry, so 30 miles per hour. Let's hit that, and we can try and turn left as well. Right, let's try and read that carefully, showing the examiner what our brain's doing. We went up there and then we turned left, we did. So let's have a look. It's not too difficult, is it? I think I'll make that 14 meters. That's not very much, is it? Minutes? 14 meters. Oh, fair enough, okay. So 14 meters it is then. Shocking, as a driver. Ugh. Right, now the next bit's complicated. Tim is driving at 60 miles per hour on a dry road. He is driving with the minimum safe gap between his car and the car in front. Well, they would say that, wouldn't they? It starts to rain heavily and both cars slow down to 14 miles per hour. Should Tim increase the gap between his car and the car in front to continue driving with the minimum safe gap? You must show clearly how you obtain your answers. Now, there's such a lot of reading there. Essentially, we're doing 60 in the dry, and now we're doing 40 in the wet. Let's see what happens if we do 60 in the dry. 60 in the dry, so 60 and dry. Let's see what the safe gap should be. I think it's going to be I can't do it perfectly, really, I can't. So, up and along, so you're looking at, I think it's 26 meters, 60 miles per hour in the dry. Now let's see what happens if we go, let's get a slightly darker colour, I think. Let's do that one, and we're going to go for that colour. Oh, I've missed it anyway. Do it one more time, come on. That one. I'm going to try and go 40 in the wet. So 40, turning left. Again, show the examiner what we're doing. We went up and we turned left, we did. And that's going to be about 36 meters. So the question is, I was doing 60 with a gap of 26 meters between me and the car in front. Now I'm doing 40 in the wet, and I should be doing 36 meters. Question, should Tim increase the gap between his car and the car in front? Yes. Let's just write it nice and clearly in red now. Yes. He should increase from 26 meters to 36 meters. I'm very happy with that. It's a jump of 10. So you go, you drop by 20 miles per hour, but it's gone wet, so increase the gap by another 10 meters. So I think that's really, really good, really. Again, it's not perfectly done. That line there, that blue line's not perfect. I sort of dropped it by one little square, so it could be 27 meter gap. Either way, you got the idea. I've shown the examiner exactly what I'm doing. For each line, for each part of the question. Yeah, definitely continue to drive, but increase your minimum safe gap distance. And that, my dear friends, is the end of Unit 2. It is the end of 13, Chapter 13, Assess. I really need you to study these videos, or more importantly, you need to really study these videos for yourselves. So thank you, and I'll see you in Unit 3.